All right, everybody, welcome back to Beans No Ball, episode 16 of Bean Talk. We're definitely right in the full swing of it here, so let's just get right into open discussion like we're going to start it off as usual. Anything you want to really get us going with?
I mean, really the one you mentioned too, the contract situations.
Yeah.
The ones that are really not living up. Let's start with probably the biggest one is Brandon Ayuk. Obviously not living up to that contract we received in the offseason with the whole diva. After everything in the offseason, after the Super Bowl, coming into March, 4 OTAs, the draft, this and that, free agency, he was just literally he's just being a diva this whole time. Obviously, like he wanted his money, and from the past, like
Well, he wanted top 5 money when
Exactly.
he is maybe top 10.
from the last season, top 10, right?
Okay.
I wouldn't consider him the top 5 scenario from coming to last season. Look, he did put up a lot. You know, when Debo was having a lackluster season, he stepped up, right?
Yeah.
And that was really, I mean, what was it? Like, he had like sub 80 receptions and cracking 1,700 yards.
I don't have his
I don't have
stats
exactly the
last
stats here,
year,
but from the receptions to yards ratio, it was pretty good there. And then coming to the season, he really hasn't lived up to it. I mean, I don't think he's cracked 200 yards yet. I could be fact checked on that with his because he hasn't been hitting, his
Well, he
main
hasn't
goals.
hit 100 yards
He's
in
hit
any
it.
game. I mean, he's
Yeah.
been held to like sub 50 most games. I think he was held to like 34 with the Rams.
I'm pretty sure he's sub 100 or sub 200, one or the two, right? And that's just leaving a huge detriment onto the Niners receiving core. But I mean, at least the bright side is, Debo is stepping up, and then same thing with John Jennings. But Debo's injured; he's gonna be out for a couple weeks. Juwan Jennings from the Rams game, he really stepped it up. They pretty much blew a legacy game for Juwan Jennings, after the whole running the thing with the Rams coming back and everything there. But this is a really huge concern for Ayuk. And then I gotta mention CeeDee Lamb. He got the big contract.
Well, especially after obviously last week,
Exactly.
you getting to see that in person. I don't know who was in coverage with him. That obviously he was getting locked up pretty good, and obviously like you were saying,
It
the
was
rest of these receivers weren't able to.
Humphrey and Hamilton, even though one of the other two, but for the most part, yeah, he was getting locked up for the most part. And look, there were some times when he was open, Dak missed him, but Dak literally had no time in the pocket, this and that, a couple missed throws, no separation, forced Dak to throw in tight windows. That's why CD couldn't make those catches, and then the fumble in the red zone, which probably was the game changer in the
And
whole
which I'm
game.
sure this is something that you could probably get into more, but a lot of people are probably thinking this, Dak's contract too. That's obviously something else that we
Yeah.
can say. I guess I'll let you start with what you think, how he's living up and how much more he needs to do.
See,
'cause-
this is literally a parallel from the 2020 season. He got his contract in the 2020 season. He's literally carrying this team on his back. Defense is selling him out. I mean, we saw
And the
it.
one thing I will say is and we argued about this on the way here a little bit, he's playing well too, but the only thing is, his stats do get a little inflated at times. If we remember,
Well, I'm not gonna say the Ravens game. It was still we were coming back. It was still a game we were still able to come back to. It wasn't that
To
we
a
were down
to a
4 scores.
degree,
It wasn't we
it
were down
was-
like 8 scores and he just running up the stats. Like he was playing to get us back in the game, and that's
Well,
what
look,
he was.
and he
doing.
was, and I know the Ravens game. Look, it was to a degree. It looked like to start at it would kind of was just stat padding, but eventually the stat padding kind of worked and they got their way back into the game. But I mean, more of like the Saints game where
Well, that Saints game was just there was no coming back
and
for that
I mean,
one.
he still
That's-
didn't really give me points there
That's
anyway.
that's the only one. That's really the only issue there. But the Ravens game, that was literally not garbage time. We were literally coming back in that whole scenario there. But back to literally the parallel of the 2020 season. He got his contract before the season. The whole defense is selling. He's the one who look, the Browns game, the Falcons game. Those were just a handful. The Giants game, really, they have no help within the backfield with the injuries. And specifically the defense, that is exactly what I'm looking like. And look, I mentioned it before, Dak's contract, I would say it's still too early to tell with the way he's playing right now. He's
Well, for
still
what it's
playing-
worth, all of these, it
yeah,
is too early.
It is
to
too
tell.
early there, but obviously with contract, everyone's gonna be looking at him more because it's Dak Prescott. We already see the unprecedented hate that he gets around the league from the fans everywhere here. But I think this game, it's gonna show a lot for Dak, and I think if the defense does end up stepping up and he starts to have a decline, then that's gonna probably leave a huge bump into the Cowboys, specifically with everyone that was defending him. Specifically me. You already know I'm a freaking
course.
diehard Dak defender.
And I mean, keep it with quarterbacks. I mean, two very different scenarios that we can also get into with Trevor Lawrence and Tua.
yeah.
I mean, with Tua, as much as I don't want to say too much because obviously, the injury and that kind of takes away any chance of actually, improving on his stats. But
Yeah.
first 2 games he wasn't good.
He really wasn't at all.
Yeah.
He wasn't living up again to the contract. He wasn't looking good like how he was last season. At least getting the pass game open with the receivers and Tyreek Hill. I mean, he was missing a lot of throws. And obviously that's a little. I guess you get an understanding to that, but he was missing some really crucial throws. And look, again, he didn't have a run game to back him up, right? So I'm not gonna, give him the huge huge blame on him as much because look, the run game's always an important factor to these quarterbacks around the league, right? HN and Mostert, they weren't getting go. Sure, HN, I think he got a touchdown, but the run game, it was pretty weak, and Tua, he had to keep throwing, and that's kind of where quarterbacks kind of mess up there, right? But again, he had time in the pocket. His O-line was getting it done for him, but he wasn't, living up to it. Specifically even in the Bills game too, before he got out with the concussion, Bills were just getting to him. And back to Trevor Lawrence, I think that's just a straight up I think that contract was horrible. He has not played well at all. Yeah, he is not playing well whatsoever. I mean, you have ETN at his back. He's doing fairly well for you. You got Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, who you guys just got, and then that defense. Defense is a little iffy. Let's get it started. They kept in place in the Dolphins.
Yeah, but overall, I think the topic is, sure, if he doesn't get help from his defense, he doesn't get help from his defense. But the main topic is it's what he does.
He lives up to the contract. He has not been doing anything, and I know a lot of people are gonna agree. Trevor Lawrence.
And look, no, a lot of people they're trying to throw around the bust. Is he a bust? And I don't want to say that just yet. He's really starting to show off that way. A lot of the blame is starting to go on to Doug Peterson, which I don't know if it really should, as much as it has been.
Well, the blame is going to go to
coach. And I do understand that he is to blame in some regards, but Trevor Lawrence plays very alarming for what that's worth, and we'll wait and see for him. But one more, obviously, someone that I call that could be expecting a pretty, a little bit of a fall off into this year in Travis Kelce. And what are the stats we've seen? Does he have 60 yards in the first 3 games, something like that?
I don't think he's cracked 100 yet.
Well, I think he's be lucky if he's even cracked 20 in a game.
Yeah, that was you got it down on the dot with that one. Because he hasn't done anything. Honestly, look, we'll pull him up right now. Just to check. I'm pretty sure he is sub 100 of the season.
69 yards in a year.
So he was sub. He's literally
8 catches.
He's literally sub 100. Is that 8 catches for season yards? That's like a game right there. But yeah, he hasn't lived it up. So I guess you were spot on that one. His age is starting to get to him. Because Rashee Rice is Mahomes' #1 target right now, and that's pretty much looking right now. Speedster is everywhere.
And to see too that I would have expected. In part 2. The receiver core being so strong that was maybe going to start ushering him into a smaller role, but the receiver core isn't looking that strong. Mahomes himself isn't looking that good. Sure, Rashee Rice, he's doing something. Worthy had that big first game, but he hasn't really shown anything after that. And obviously, no Hollywood Brown, who I thought was going to carry a big load in this offense.
Season.
Yeah, obviously.
So he's not just the.
So you would have expected after seeing this, it probably would have been Kelce and Rice sharing the load, but we're obviously really not seeing that. If anything, Noah Gray is. Is he getting comparable stats to Kelce at this point?
Pretty much the same, 4 for 50.
Yeah,
same thing,
kinda.
But yeah, Kelce, I don't know how long he's gonna much longer. If he's gonna end up having a resurgence mid-season, don't know how much that's.
Or is it just gonna be just in the postseason when he randomly pops off like he always does?
He's gonna go for 3 touchdowns in the divisional and just go from there. But this is a pretty lackluster performance for Travis Kelce. I think it's Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift might be, but she got him that playoff performance last year. So
exactly,
maybe
in the playoffs
he'll when he gets for the playoffs.
Yep, exactly.
But I think we can. Another little topic that we talked about that a little more laid back. Just the Lions are breaking out their new alternate uniforms, which out of all, I'm a little on the fence with that helmet. I'm still gonna say I'm on the fence about that neon blue helmet, but
I freaking love that helmet.
Let's get into talking about there's a bunch of new uniforms coming in this season. What's something that stood out for you out of all
the Jets
these?
One.
Oh, yeah, I loved it.
I really loved the Jets one.
Because last year they introduced it as a throwback, and then they just made it permanent. A phenomenal move.
That jersey is really, really nice. I think especially with Wilson. I know he is the baggier sleeve ones. I know a lot of guys.
I don't like it.
I like the old school look. That's just me. I like the old school look with the baggy sleeves.
Got him looking like an old school quarterback, man. I don't like it.
I'm rocking with it. That could just be a little guilty pleasure for me, but. Me personally, I'm rocking with Wilson with the baggy sleeves. I don't know. I just like the old school versions of the jersey.
Yeah, and I can respect that. Yeah. But I don't know. I guess you kind of just get used to seeing receivers. What you call it? That scrunched up jersey.
Scrunched up with the going under.
Yeah, with the elastic.
We're used to that, right? He's doing something new.
But I don't know. That's just not my preference. Something. I was a little on the fence at first when they just first came up with the Texans jerseys. they haven't even worn the home jerseys yet. But that's something that I've always.
With the H, right? With the
not just the home jersey, but the H helmet. I liked it. I think is the battle red and their other alternate that I kind of wasn't a fan of at the start. But the more I see it, I think they wore it in preseason. I was pretty into it. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's kind of they've been growing on me. I mean, and look, since we actually opened this with the Lions, you know, I'll open it with that too. I mean, that road uniform is the only one that, like, to me, you know, I mean, they were a full rebrand. No, the road whites, those right there. Like, I mean, it feels like a little too much. I mean, the main blue, the home blue, like that one, I rock.
I feel like the whites is just like a regular basic jersey. I like the blue one, dude. I like that.
I don't know if you noticed the difference in the helmets. I mean, it used to be a gray face mask, a little different design on the top. I mean, that's a huge upgrade for me. I love that new helmet that they came out with. But, you know, the
black jersey, I know that one you don't like.
Dude. No, the black jersey, it's okay for me. I mean, I feel like some teams overdo using black, but it's the helmet, bro. I can't get behind the helmet. It just looks too JUCO to me.
I like the helmet, dude. I like the helmet with the black. I feel like it's gonna grow on you when you actually see in game.
Okay, we'll
when you actually see it in game, I think that's gonna really look into you. And then I guess even the Broncos too.
I liked it. I didn't expect to be so high on it when the first ones came out, but I mean, you know, having my soft spot for Bo Nix, I think seeing him ball on in him last week, you know, kind of did something to me for him. I mean, I think it was, I mean, in a way, you know, a much needed rebrand. Those old jerseys were looking a little outdated, and I think they hit on these.
The other ones that they like, I think the one they wore last was like the blue. I hate that one.
The navy blue ones, the old navies. I have a Manning in those, but I mean,
no. Literally the new ones they released this year. Literally they wore them last week. Those. Pull them up. Actually,
I think they've only worn the whites up until this point, but I'm okay with all of them. I'm love the orange crush that they came out, those throwbacks with the D and the Bronco on it.
Yeah. I don't like this navy even.
Well, with the white pants, it looks ugly.
Yeah, like it's just the navy jersey with the orange and the white sleeves. I don't like that one. Dude.
I'm okay with the jersey. It's just that specific combo that you're looking at that does do something to me.
Probably.
And just because I finally got it up here, this is another one that I do want to get with the Vikings. Right away when they came out, I just can't. I can't with these. I mean, remember what I told you. This is way back. They're regular whites with just a regular white helmet, a whiteout helmet. That's all they had to do for their whiteouts. And all of a sudden, they come up with this. I mean, the number looks too spaced out. You can't even read the Vikings. I mean, the silver accents. I mean, even the helmet looks a little weird to me. I'm just not rocking with it.
I mean, with the Vikings when they came out, I wasn't really just like, oh my god. I thought it was just all right. Honestly, didn't have a big info on that. I mean, hey, the Colts as well too with the black helmets and the dark blue jerseys. Simple, but I rock with it. It's just
came out last year.
Huh?
Came out
last year?
Yeah, no. I remember those are a while back, but
okay. So I'm just making sure on
yeah, of course, but I don't know which ones. I mean, are we missing any?
I mean, you already mentioned the Texans, but they're all red.
Oh no, yeah, that battle red. For whatever reason at the start, I was a little iffy on them, but you know, just seeing them more. I mean, they're nice, and
I rock with them. That's really about it.
Remember that? Yeah, those orange questions. Those are the ones that I'm
talking about. The orange with the blue helmet, dude, beautiful.
Yeah,
I think from the New Jerseys, I think that's kind of
that's pretty much it. I do think. I mean, I guess we could probably take it into, you know, viewers' questions. Got a little less here, but we got some new people that are getting into. So, you know, someone that's getting our first one. So let's get into it,
my boy. So Isaiah, appreciate you, bro. So obviously this year's the team with the best overall talent. You personally, you went with the Lions and the Eagles, and you know, but looking at the Lions and the Eagles rosters, you could say these are probably the top talented rosters. I mean, look at the Eagles. Look, quarterback Jalen Hurts, which
I would, not, and I know what you're gonna get into here. You know, with Jalen. I mean, just in general.
No, yes.
I think the addition of Saquon really carries, like, you know, the talent argument about the Eagles. I mean, for the Lions, I mean, by far, yeah. I mean, they paid all their ingrown talent, and they, you know, they brought in.
I mean, they have arguably a top 5 running back.
I love the Lions.
Yeah.
Yes.
They have a top 5 running back, which carries their talent. Montgomery and Gibbs. You know,
we saw week 1.
We saw week 1. They're just running through. They're just running through you guys there, and then their O-line. Jesus Christ, their O-line is just God. I don't even got words to say. Their O-line is.
No, I mean, yeah, the top O-line in the league.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sam Laporta, tight end, who worked his way up, and then looking at the defensive side, I mean, sure, their defense could be a little iffy, but look, you got Aiden Hutchinson, right? Who is probably going to be one of the top leaders in the defensive player race this season. Then you got Alex Anzalone, which is another underrated guy on this Lions defense, and then DJ Rader, and the rookies Teron Arnold, who is kind of starting to make a name for himself. Obviously, he's still got a little work his way there, but there's obviously talent on both sides of the boss here. So I would say, you know, Lions probably have the upper edge here. With the Eagles,
Look, see, with me, it's like, look, we see the struggles that Jalen Hurts is
Exactly.
getting right now. So, like, I can't really put him like that. I mean, to me, like, as of right now, not a top 10 quarterback.
Exactly. But the
for
team
this
around him
season.
is why the talent wise.
I mean, he does, and right now, obviously, they don't have two of their top
They
two
don't have
receivers.
AJ.
which
Devonta's
we'll
still
see.
getting questioned with
We'll see what that. But like, if we see, at full health, I mean, I do love that the connection with AJ Brown and Devonta, and I mean, obviously, adding Saquon, that run game is obviously so much stronger, and they still have one of the top O lines, so I can obviously see that the defense is still a concern to some degree. I mean, we've seen time and time again. I mean, obviously last week, I mean, they definitely showed up, contained the Saints to 12 points. So I mean, you could say what you want there, but my opinion, and I think you can agree with me on this. The Houston Texans is another team that you could really put into that argument of really the one of the the most talented rosters. Obviously, you already know what CJ Stroud did last year, and he's starting to bring it in little by little this year. And
the new acquisitions that they got just boosted up the talent.
Obviously,
with Joe Mixon, he is out, but healthy team, Mixon, Diggs, everyone there. Tank Dell was kind of having a slow year, and then
Stephon Diggs. That's the big one that I expected, and what we were talking about that he was probably gonna be better if he was like lower, not the main focal point. And when we see Nico be the main focal point, Stephon's just flourishing, and exactly what we expected him to do. And like, I know we want to see more from Tank, but I mean, I think he'll grow into it in the season.
I'm still rooting for Tank.
They are weak at tight end. I will say Dalton Schultz really not looking like the acquisition they expected last year. But for them, they got probably the best offensive tackle in the league in Laremy Tunsil, which the last week he was looking a little iffy.
Yeah, I mean, and their defense just, oh Jesus, like Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter that they just acquired there.
Which
Eric Stingley, who I've loved.
And we can say certain things like last week, them getting torched by the Vikings offense by Sam Darnold. So it's one game, so we're not going to put too much into that. But like we said, CJ is going to bounce back. This defense is going to bounce back, and I think they're going to take a lot from this. So I mean, this Texans team, I'm still someone that I'm definitely looking forward to here. So. And we can also just say the 49ers, once they get their guys back,
the Niners are healthy,
they're a scary team.
They're a top 3 talent-wise team. But like right now with the injuries, Debo's out, McCaffrey's still out. I think Kittle too, right?
I think he was practicing in a limited capacity, but I'm expecting him to be back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we can move this. I mean, just another little shit. I mean, Diego, another guy that I go a little back with you. I mean, why does David always look like he's about to drop the worst take ever when I start talking? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I got the Kelsey take. I got the Saquon take. I think I'm doing okay so far this season. I mean, last year I guess I had my own.
I mean, we had
Justin Fields.
We had our fair share of L's last season, but this season is kind of more, I guess, even for the most part. But you do have your W take so far with the Kelsey.
Yeah, we both we have our days, we have our good and our bad, but can't be much worse than the takes we see on ESPN and Fox. I mean, am I right?
Jesus, I don't want to get
not even to get into that, but
sometimes like I watch them just so I get some content in for the day when I'm bored, but it's just like,
but it's not quality.
It's just like
it's not.
They're doing it for views. I swear to God, especially Stephen A.
It's not.
They're doing it for views.
It's not what ESPN used to be. There, I heyday, and I missed the old days. But look, I mean, let's close this out. Let's get into the Thursday nighter. I mean, Christian, your Cowboys. I mean, I know you kind of already gave a good part of your analysis when we were talking about Dak and CD, but I mean, anything particularly for this game?
I think once again, this is all going to rely on the rush defense. I mean, look, Devin Singletary, look. You can see what about Singletary. He flourished last game, which kind of helped the Giants get that dub over the Browns, right? He was doing fairly well, and as what I said with the Cowboys, if you're betting, just bet the over on the opponent's running back against the Cowboys because they're gonna get a decent amount of yardage here. But I think the main concern here I have, it's the matchup between Diggs and Neighbors. Neighbors finally finding a rhythm for himself after having a pretty great game last season.
This is something that we discussed a bunch yesterday about who his Neighbors gone against, and I know, and I wasn't trying to say anything that like, oh, Diggs is a nobody either. Like, I think you might.
I literally debunked your ass literally when we were eating.
No, and I wasn't trying.
I was like, whoa.
Carb started really shitting on.
Oh, I was getting on his ass.
I mean, I was trying to pile in, but look, my thing is like, he's gone against, pretty average corners so far. He's getting a test with Diggs, and like, look, we don't know how he's gonna do against a good guy, but we don't know how Diggs is gonna go against. So that's my thing that like, we don't know how much he's tested. We don't know how far he
Exactly.
still has to go. So I'm very excited to see what Neighbors can do against Trayvon. I do expect him to get his fair share. You know, I'm sure Diggs can.
I'm not gonna expect Diggs.
do enough.
I'm not gonna expect. I'm not gonna expect a big, huge matchup. I'm not gonna spend a lot of stats between them. I know they're gonna rotate around with Kalen Carson. I'm pretty sure they were gonna want to see how he's gonna be able to do. And then Jay Lou, gonna be a couple guys there. But I'm gonna look. Is Trayvon gonna get the bigger load? Pause. On Neighbors, yes, right. But there's gonna be a couple rotations there. But I'm still with the receiving core with the Giants have. Like even though they're not a top core,
Well, I mean, Neighbors is the only guy that works.
Yeah, literally. But
I mean,
again,
Hyatt, Robinson.
look how the Cowboys defense has been playing. I mean, Jahan Dotson last week just got an easy touchdown on us. So a lot of things can happen here. And then again to the offense. Another issue the O-line can have because the way Brian Burns
Because I mean, what you
came
said
up
that BB and Guyton had some issues last week.
BB and
right?
Guyton had some issues. Like BB was doing great for the
He was
first two
definitely-
games. Yes, what his age is starting to show, man. That's kind of getting me scared
Is
because
this not another thing that I said once you guys signed him?
if Zach Martin goes down, cancel the season. We're gonna wait for basketball season, maybe get into some stuff for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Lakers. Let's do some prediction on there. But yeah, Zach's our anchor there, and no run game. I'm not gonna expect Zeke and Donald to do anything. This is gonna be a pass heavy from Dak Prescott. And I mean, sure, if we're able to contain Daniel Jones, it's just gonna see how the offense executes. Specifically when we get in the red zone, these field goals, like let Aubrey get some rest on the sideline. He's pretty much our MVP of this whole thing here. But this Giants team, it's still not a team to sleep on, even though with Daniel Jones at QB, I'm literally not gonna be cocky here with Dak and the record against the Giants, because again, any given Sunday, Thursday, whatever you want to call it, but I'm gonna expect a really close,
No,
really
look,
close game
that's
between
that's
both
my
these
thing. So, I
teams.
mean, if it was, I mean, if we didn't see, the struggles that we're kind of
Yeah.
starting to see little by little as of late, maybe I would expect a blowout. But seeing the O-line struggle, seeing the
rush
defense,
the
specifically,
secondary not living up, the linebackers.
it
doing
just looks like,
whatever.
and then for whatever reason, now the Giants look like they're slowly trending
Yeah.
up in a way. So it kind of does like we're in for. I mean, is this gonna be another one of those ugly Thursday night games? We could probably be in for one of those. But I mean,
the last good Thursday nighter was Cowboys Seahawks from last season.
Rams Saints.
Which
I'm pretty sure Rams Saints was after.
was it?
I think so. I mean, it was late December.
That's right. You probably are right about that.
Yeah, because I went to that
yeah.
one.
So the last two we could say there hasn't.
Yeah, look, our teams have played the
Yeah.
last one, so you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe the Cowboys can give us a good Thursday nighter. But
I hope so. But I'm just saying right now, we lose, forget playoffs. Forget
let's
the playoffs. This is gonna be-
let's not worry too much about that. Let's get into what really matters, and let's get into the parlay.
Yes.
So, road team first. So Christian, you get into your Cowboys picks.
Yeah, so obviously, like I talked about the past day, I'm gonna go Dak. This is Price Picks. We're still sticking with Price Picks. Gonna go 263.5. I'm gonna go put the bar on that. Gonna expect a really pass heavy CD. Look, CD, still love CD. The whole thing was last time, but I think it's due for a resurgence. Finally, him getting back to connection with Dak. I'm gonna have him go 82.5 more yards on him receiving. He's gonna. I'll hope you're the bigger factor on this one. And then Zeke. Gonna go the under on 27.5 rush yards. He didn't even crack 20 last week. If this comes to bite me in the ass, I don't know what I'll do.
Well, I mean, our parlays have been a little iffy as of
Yeah.
late, but we'll see if when we decide to bet on them, they decide to do the opposite. But for the Giants, Daniel Jones, I expect the Cowboys to be able to contain his rushing side a little bit, so I think he's gonna go under the 31.5 rush yards. Now Malik Neighbors, that's the main part of my parlay. 71.5 receiving yards is what he said at. I'm gonna go over. I do expect him to. I mean, nothing too major. I mean, 70s is something that you usually expect for.
I mean, he
Considered
got
good.
78, I think 70.
Yeah, something like that. But, I mean, for what it's worth, struggling secondary, I think he could definitely do it, especially when he's off Diggs. And a demon pick. He set up 0.5 touchdowns. I'm taking the over. I'm expecting him to get into the end zone here. I'll call my pick too. I think on Kalen Carson, he'll get a touchdown specifically.
Probably on Kalen. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like outside of Diggs, probably where he's gonna get
No,
most.
and that's kind of what I'm expecting too. I mean, I'm very excited to see what he can do against Diggs, but we'll wait and see. But I mean, yeah, those are our picks. I didn't actually go in to see how much it was, but I mean, it's probably gonna give you around 200 for a $20 bet.
Well, the deal
somewhere
probably
around
would be a little bit more, so like 20 to 50.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Right
I'll throw it in there for
Yeah.
you guys to really know. Of course, bet responsibly. Do not take our words as wisdom. We are terrible at betting. I mean, as you can see, we'll also
I've lost
throw up. I mean,
$20 so far.
last week, what was our parlay? It
Won
was
like 2 for 3 for 6.
we were 3 for 6. So I mean that wasn't even a hit. So I mean don't take these all that strongly. But that
I've only hit once, and that's it. But hopefully that can change today.
But that is going to do it for us. Another good Bean Talk in here for the 16th one. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you like and subscribe, and we'll see you right back for the week 4 recap.